Hey YouTube, welcome back to Universe X, and I am here today to give you another UniXMatch series. This time, it'll be against Red Broly from my perspective as Dark Broly. It's going to be a really fun match. Lots of people have been asking about this matchup and how it works, and you're about to see it, however brief the games may be, because really, with this matchup, a winner is usually chosen by 2 to 3 energy. So it just kind of is like that. Now, real quick, just to say, if you like the content, think about hitting that subscribe button, because I am trying to grow the channel. We're going to be doing something really special once we hit, I believe, 400. See if we can carry it through to 500. We're just going to be doing something. You might be able to pick up the pieces just looking at other videos, but don't worry, I got you guys. Next, if you haven't joined the Facebook group, okay, think about joining that. It is the largest group for this game. Plethora of knowledge, enough said. And lastly, my Discord is in the description. Really though, it is just growing. Like, I mean, we've got a couple people in there. If you want to enter the Rogue series, like you saw the last video, I've got one planned for this week with a spicy deck, but all you have to do is be in the Discord and just reach out to me. Let me know, hey, I have a spicy brew, and if you want to get interviewed, we can set it up. So, hey, that's right there. And I think I'm gonna put my Twitter link down there. Twitter, I normally kind of post more about Dragon Ball games and the manga, you know, my Legends, Dokkan, things like that. But hey, do it to it if you want to. And so, without further ado, let's hop right into the match, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alrighty then, so we are back here to commentate, and I say we because I happen to get Amani to be back on the show again, so that's kind of hot.
Hey, thanks for having me back on the show.
Thanks for agreeing to this at like literally 2 a.m. when I was starting to record this. So, this is going to be Dark Broly versus Broly BR. And, I mean, it is what it is. Both decks can kind of be seen to be aggressive, but obviously you know Red Broly is the aggro of this table right now. Or at least should be.
Well, Dark Broly's going first here, so this should definitely prove to be interesting. This is really going to come down to a battle of preparation here. In normal circumstances, Dark Broly usually plays a pretty good game against Red Broly when it goes first, but it's largely dependent on how the Red Broly player assesses the matchup. So we'll see how this goes. So we got Dustin opened up, kept 4 cards in his hand. Spencer's keeping 3, it looks like. So seems like these are moderately decent hands at least. So this should be a pretty good game. I mean, obviously, they kept most of what they needed to play. So let's see how this goes.
I know personally, with the current build that's being on this just match, I want to see a 1-drop Unison. I kept a super combo because I know Broly's going to pressure me into it, and I want to kind of stave off going from 4 to 3 if I have to. And then I wanted to catch a Ravager, the Vegeta, the old TP, but I was not able to snag that last part for the critical pressure. But then again, going first, it's a little harder to set up than if I was going second, because he won't be able to swing on the Unison like 8 times. So that is what it is, but definitely don't want to get caught lacking, because this deck can score off some easy damage. So pretty sure just activating the effect and leaving an energy up is the way to go.
Okay, so we're going to take life. Go to 7 here. Now, this is important to understand. Taking first life, double super combo. Taking first life here, going first, is probably much safer than taking first life going second. He's digging for a card, so it's not going to kill him to take life here, because the turn 1's not going to be nearly as bad, and he should be okay. He's looking to awaken as soon as he can, preferably. I probably still would have played Unison here, only to make sure I went ahead and started it up, because it's turn 1. There's nothing he's going to do in turn 1 that's going to be particularly threatening. He should be going to Vampa into a 1-drop, meaning at best he's going to swing with his leader, if anything, just for a critical. And this is interesting. He opens up charging Violent Rays. I can only assume he's got multiples in his hand. I did see him keep one. Searches for Vampa, so he hits Vampa. And so we're going to assume that's going to be the immediate next play. To go ahead and proceed to the top 7. Let's see what we grab.
It's a little hard to see from his angle. I've been working on the camera angle, so from matches on, you're going to see better reveals. But he goes into the TP1 drop.
7th card. He's good at that. Okay, so no sense in shuffling right away, I see. Once he discards, he'll go back in and get the ba. And so this really shows the consistency of the deck for the people who argue not needing the TP. This is generally why you want to have the TP. Summoning the ba on turn 1 and being able to search for any other Broly you need pretty much locks in the consistency that the chain needs to function. After this point here, it's not too relevant if you see the TP again, but it's super, super strong in this early stage because this is what gets you perfectly set up. And here, this is where you're most vulnerable to disruption. So your setup here is more important than ever.
Truth. And just to hit you with a little bit more frivolous information, well, frivolous information compared to what Amani just said, he definitely just crit his other planet Vampa, the second one, in deck to the grave, because always lucky.
It is a pretty solid crit. He shouldn't need it ever again, because I don't know of a Dark Broly deck that can remove a field spell.
I splashed green for Arena Wrecker or whatever it is.
You're down to 7. That's he didn't attack with his leader. His leader should have it should have it takes a life to get a crit, right?
That's truth. It should, yeah, but I mean that would have been extra card and crit pressure while I really can't do too much about it.
I mean, it's obvious that your next best play is to go into Demigod, but you would just warp the 1-drop, as I assume. So then he should be fine to go straight to. He probably wants to bump it. Okay, no, okay, I'm back. We're back. Going to 5 is usually the perfect number here. Attacking with a non-critical probably would have helped. Okay, leader into leader. It should be a pretty simple snap take. Go to 5, block the Demi. I don't see any more pressure coming out here. And be the perfect number.
No graveyard, all tapped out. Pressure is non-existent past these 2 swings. And only one of those swings is pressure, really. But we get blocked.
Combos. Okay, so then maybe he's not going to take the Demi, and maybe he wants to play from 6 next turn. If he hits another TP1 drop, it'll crit him right down to 4.
I do believe in his hand he was going to discard TP1 drop the first time, and he stayed. So I'm fairly certain he does have the TP1 drop.
He took. All right. I'm a little confused there now. Why did he block the 10K instead of just taking the 10 and blocking the Broly, the Demi with the ba? Save the 5-drop.
Okay.
Charges. Okay. Charges the 1-drop.
Normal 1-drop. Takes a life for Vampa.
Goes in.
I believe that's another 1-drop in there. I'm trying to see.
Ooh.
Saw a super combo.
I hope he doesn't hit the TP again.
Okay.
Alright, there's the normal one. That's cool. Alright, looks like we are prepared to do some Red Broly games. Okay. Well, now this is the what? Okay. He's attacking. And this is the general moment of truth here. This is a really important factor in understanding Red Broly here. Most of the time, this early in the game, if you're gonna play against a Dark Broly player, you don't want to give him the awakening this early in the game. Usually, the 6 life point is the best place to stay. And for like the Red Broly here, that would simply just swap straight up to 5 after you swap into the 3, you tap your 1, you produce the second chain or whatever. You generally just want to go to the 5-drop, rip as many cards from his hand, and only leave critical pressure on him. If Dark Broly gets enough cards in his hand, it will be able to play through Red Broly's schematics, which is essentially going to make this swapping thing irrelevant. He's not going to be able to kill him with this type of pressure if he's going to give him all the cards first. Double ba on board, so he's mostly protected, 3 life. Dangerous space goes to the 4-drop. So now the warpening begins. And that's the 1. And that's the 2.
I might add, it's a little odd as well because against a lot of decks, this double ba play is going to give him kind of the cushion he needs to press this hard and stay alive. But against Dark Broly, removal is almost completely on tap. Like, I'm going to go up to, well, I'm going to stay at 2 energy, but especially with Awakening next turn, with how much he's swinging on me, it should not be hard to establish a second Demigra and a 6-drop SR Broly if I need to. So it's not the safety net that this normally could be against other decks.
It is good pressure that he's giving out, but I can't say that I would have done it. Just not this soon. I mean, going into the next turn, knowing that you charging a 3 is practically fatal and leaving you at 6 life, pretty much preventing you from being able to awaken. Sticking a 5-drop to board with the power to regenerate my chain on your one and only removal of Demigod, you shouldn't be able to produce a graveyard. You shouldn't be able to produce more than 1 play. And then just having the Violet Rays live, because there's not much you can do about Demi. And then from there, I feel pretty safe, you know? 1 card attacks leader, and then everything else can go to Demi, and I mean, you can just burn cards from your hand at that point.
Very much so true.
Yeah, like, leader swings with the critical 20k would have been more than enough to put the leader to 6 without giving him a card. Then the 30k attacks Demi after he's warped 2. He has no cards left. It makes sense. But he chose to go for pressure, and I guess that's where it becomes most confusing, that he then attacks the Demi in combos to try to kill it.
It's like you either go full tilt or you. It was a weird split of pressure, like it was, and it actually kind of allowed me to. I mean, that was going to happen regardless, but he could have tried to put me down to 2 with the threat of critical instead of. It was just very odd. Because especially with how this deck goes, I could have easily chosen just to let Demigra die and not spend anything if that was the case, but he allowed me to go into it. I'm a little confused with that part of the play, like especially after listening to your logic.
This particular build of Dark Broly is exceptionally good at creating graveyards in the combat phase, so it just seems strange that you wouldn't put the 30k pressure onto the 10k leader, knowing that if he flips now, he loses literally half of his graveyard pressure, or he'll just go out 5 cards in his hand, which would then essentially reset all of the damage you did in the beginning, where he goes -5 on all those cards he picked up.
Yeah, it also looked like at the beginning of this turn, I almost charged to 3, and then just decided against it, because if you played against Red Broly, yeah, you already know, like, this is not the way. But I also asked how many cards he has in hand, so I'm pretty sure I plan on taking a lot.
Violent Rays on Demigod. 3 cards down.
Yep, and this is a huge swing in momentum because he only had 6 cards in hand. But he Violent Raised, discarded a card to pay its additional cost, so I can't swing with any battle card with over 20,000 or more. But then Demigra's effect activates, ripping a card from his hand by his choice. So now he's down to 3 cards at 3 life. And while he's that's a huge vice to be put in.
I can't say out of Violent Rays there. I mean, I'd have felt much more comfortable just warping 1, blocking with Ba if I don't want to take any life damage. If he demis, he warps another Ba, and he doesn't kill me, it's his loss, because I have 2 Broly chains live. So I feel like even if Ba's on board, it's still the correct play to go after the Brolys if you know for sure you're not going to be able to kill him. And if he taps out for Demi and then doesn't kill me, it's even worse. So I'd have felt pretty comfortable not going Violent Rays there. Not for 3 cards. That's so many cards. My gosh.
And able to literally get the full price. I was able to use my leader ability, was able to swing, draw, awaken to draw 2. And now I have free reign to set up my graveyard. He may have Violent Raised me, but this is the actual point to try to crack at that hand a little bit, maybe crack at his field a little bit. It's not a good place to be in right now.
Snap take that one. And it's crazy when things like base 20 is hitting your leader because you don't have a choice. You have 2 blockers up, still cards in hand, and base 20s are hitting your leader. You can't be in a very strong spot. And there's one thing about this Red Broly is the longer the game goes consistently, it begins to slow down because it runs out of hand, which means that it runs out of swap resources. If you're capable of applying the right amount of pressure, which I think Dark Broly is one of those decks, because it can produce pressure from the graveyard, so it can utilize resources to defend itself on its opponent's turn, and then banish those resources to clap back more attack power on its turn. And I think that makes it a good matchup here.
Yeah, and I'm seeing right here, like with the hand going down to 3 already and seeing him snap take a 20, I think automatically I could just feel that the hand was weak enough for me to start punching at the Broly, knowing it's going to drop a card from his hand already. And then he's going to have to, like, his hand is literally just dwindling. I just cut his hand in half by removing that one.
Cut his hand in half a second time for this turn.
That's fair. Hand destruction, Broly, OP.
Cut his hand in half again.
At this point, it's very weird because there's not really much he can necessarily do in this situation. Like, I mean, like Amani was saying, no hand equals no swap. There's very little pressure that he can put behind his cards. And I'm on 2 energy. So
this is also the turn where you get your resources back as well from the previous turn of warping. Goodness. Gotta start off charging. Wow. I don't know.
I mean, I think at this point he knows that, like, I mean, it's weird. Like, if I charge to 3, he's likely dying with his hand. But he also, it's a really back foot that he's on right now. He's, like, on the back foot.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like he has many other moves here. But even charge a 3, not charge a 3. I'm indifferent to it, really, because I just don't think it would have made, it was the difference maker here. I mean, it seems like it was fine to do or not to do. He's really starving for cards here, and he charges Paragus and then doesn't see it from the top 7, which means that he can only produce whatever chain he has in hand. That's tough.
With 1 card.
Leads in with his 20k into Protector, which we know from your last video you play 3 of.
Currently, I think in this build it's 2, because I haven't put this build on video. I wanted to do a little testing first.
Then he goes leader to leader, base 20, and 2 cards in hand. If he doesn't have a chain in hand, this will be the moment where he may want to dig for it. I'd at least super combo here. Produce a 30k crit. That's the one attack that's probably most devastating to go through. He doesn't do it. He goes 15 to leader.
I'm trying to see what his other card is. I see the super combo, and I couldn't see what that card was before he put it at the bottom.
He super comboed on the non-critical. Wait a second.
I get the need to dig, but yeah, putting it on the critical would have been very... would have actually tried to push through some cards I can't have. But
in this turn here, there is one attack I'm looking to block, and then other attacks that I couldn't care less. Now, he's definitely trying to find something.
I mean, I think I just peeped the other rays. Like, he just picked up rays.
Okay. It'll be a snap to just go ahead and off these Brolys from the board so you can... Why'd you leave the Ravager? Alright.
See, that was a serious mistake on my part. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
It's alright. We're here.
Just in case you guys aren't following, putting Ravager in the grave would have allowed me to open up the turn by using Ravager, taking his cards from 2 to 1, which would eliminate the ability for him to use Violent Rays in the first place, at least not on my first swing. And then the fact that I'd be able to swing with Demigra, he'd have to either play Violet Rays then on the 1 negate, or he'd have to not and lose it, and then get whatever card is in his life, which is game. So, or it's just, there's a lot of, there's bad stuff between it. Like, he could block with Bob, but if I had started off opening this turn with Ravager, he would just be sitting there taking absolutely whatever I'm throwing at him.
Ultimately, it doesn't make a difference here, but it's game etiquette, if you will. It's those things that you want to make sure that you're keeping clean when you're playing, just to solidify winning games. Because had this been a situation where perhaps Justin still has 2 cards in his hand, but maybe his life is a little higher, this may have pushed out the additional turn that he would have needed to make it, now that Spencer started by charging to 3 energy.
Correct.
Just the little things.
Yeah,
but ultimately, the Dark Broly is playing clean enough where it's not the game ender here. He'll probably still close game this turn. He does warp one of the boss. He does have 2 attackers through Violent Rose. As long as he doesn't start with one of his leader or his unison, he should have enough attacks to get through to 1 life. And obviously, if he starts with Demi, whether he does or doesn't, Violent Rage will take the rest of the cards from his hand.
Correct. Activating the Gohan Unison to put 2 more black cards into the grave. This may not be like a huge thing, but with Gohan, since he doesn't specify that you need to put 30Ks back, I tried to put not 30Ks back because your leader and certain other cards can only touch 30Ks. So I just need to make sure that it's small stuff. I can mess up in other places and still be cognizant in other places for some reason.
Okay. There is the Violent Rays. Now, small thing to note. If he was going to get Violent Rays for turn, had he started with Ravager instead, these Demis would be available for combo power if he needed his Gohan swing. Just to put out.
Very, very correct. Fortunately for me, the only thing that Gohan is here for on this turn is to get my graveyard count from 5 to 7 so that I can play the SR Dark Broly.
Well, that is enough. So that's what matters here. Gohan is attacking
leader.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, that'd be the one I would not block. I'd just fight Gohan. The leader actually has the potential to create combo power. All of this, Gohan's still at 5K.
Yup. And like I said, just the combo power. Well, not the combo power, just the graveyard fodder. So, yep, now we're going to hit the SR to remove his Ba, and then that makes the leader lethal.
And there's the power. Got plenty enough power.
So that is game 1. And there you have it. You see what I mean though? Like skipping charge was definitely crucial for me winning that because it locked him out of his top end for 1 turn. That's one of the things you kind of have to do with Red Broly. You have to operate off of 2 energy for 2 turns. And that's just kind of how it'd be. But you saw, like, it was my turn 4. And I went first, and the game, not too many turns really taken. It's kind of decided early, because if they can't burst you out in that turn, they drop so low with Vampa that it's normally it. Protector of the Peace was wild, but it is what it is. So, like I said, if you like the content, think about subscribing. Stay tuned for game 2. That'll be up momentarily. And by momentarily, I mean not in moments, maybe in a day or so. It depends on what I put in the middle. Rogue series might go in between here, but that is pretty much it. Thanks for your support. I'll see you next time. And like I said before, stay tuned for what we're going to be celebrating once I reach a little new plateau of subscribers and a little new level. And then check on the Discord or join the Discord if you want to be featured in the Rogue series or just talk with the homies. See you next time. Later.